Today we are climbing high into the Austrian Alps and plunging into these crystal clear lakes. We're heading straight into the heart of a region with a truly bizarre name, the Salzkammergut.
Right. And when you look at any picture of this area, you see these postcard-perfect villages, don't you? Tucked between sharp peaks and deep blue water.
Exactly. It's Austria's famous lake district. But that's the paradox right there in the name. Because Salzkammergut, it literally translates to salt chamber estate.
It does.
So for our deep dive today, we're going into your sources to understand how this region stretching across Upper Austria, Styria, and Salzburg went from being this ancient epicenter of salt power,
The financial engine of an empire.
right, to an imperial summer retreat, and finally into this crowded and challenging World Heritage tourist landscape it is today.
And that transformation is absolutely the key to understanding the entire region. The history is just impossibly ancient. It really traces the timeline of European civilization itself.
So it's not just about emperors.
Not at all. Salt mining here dates back a staggering 7,000 years. This resource, often called white gold, it dictated the region's prosperity and its fate for millennia. The Habsburg Empire, centuries later, they just perfected the system. They established a state monopoly on production.
The salt chamber.
Exactly. The Salzkammer. It was the empire's exclusive financial engine and just a major, reliable source of crown revenue.
Okay, let's unpack this 7,000-year saga by looking at one spectacular spot, Hallstatt. I think everyone's seen a picture of it. Today, it's one of the most Instagrammed villages in the world, with about 1 million annual visitors. But its historical significance is so much deeper.
It is. This village is so important that it actually lent its name to an entire era, the Hallstatt culture.
The earliest distinct European Iron Age civilization.
That's the one, flourishing from the 8th to the 6th century BC. So it's absolutely fair to call this place the cradle of European industrialization.
And that title is earned entirely through the wealth from salt.
100%. The salt mining and trading were just phenomenally lucrative. The sources reveal that the sheer volume of this white gold allowed the people of Hallstatt to import luxury goods, not just from local routes, but from all across Europe.
And even farther afield.
Yes, even farther. We're talking about ivory imports from Africa and Asia. They were internationally connected and immensely wealthy simply because they controlled a commodity every single civilization needed to survive.
That idea that this tiny mountain community was plugged into Bronze and Iron Age global trade, it's just incredible.
Well, what makes the archaeology here so mind-boggling is the condition of the finds.
Because of the salt itself, right?
Precisely. The salt acts as its own time capsule. It preserves organic materials by dehydrating them, creating this anaerobic environment.
So no oxygen, no decay.
Exactly. And because of this, the mines are a globally unique treasure. They're preserving things that should have just rotted away thousands of years ago.
So we're not just finding pottery shards or bits of bronze, we're finding soft goods.
We really are. In 2003, researchers uncovered a 3,350-year-old wooden staircase, completely intact.
Wow.
It's the oldest preserved wooden staircase in all of Europe. Just think about that. A wooden structure from 1500 BC, found inside a working mine, preserved perfectly by the very mineral they were extracting.
And what else? What's on that inventory?
The inventory is astonishing. Leather caps, cowskin carry sacks the miners used, wooden tools like trugs and scrapers, and perfectly preserved woolen textiles.
That gives you a complete picture of an ancient miner's day.
It truly does.
Yeah.
We have personal details from the Hallstatt age, too. Cooking vessels, wooden spoons, and perhaps most vividly, evidence of their hygiene and diet.
You mean?
Preserved human excrement and even the actual nits of a body louse. The level of preservation lets us peer directly into their daily lives, their health, their working conditions, thousands of years ago.
And it also gives us this brilliant early example of quality control. Of branding, really.
Well, absolutely. These early industrialists were differentiating their product long before the concept of marketing even existed.
How did they do that?
To distinguish their high-quality mountain salt from competitors, especially from a place called Helene, Hallstatt introduced a recognizable trademark: large, heart-shaped salt tablets.
Heart-shaped?
Yes. They found examples weighing 12 kilograms and some massive 42-kilogram blocks. They were cut directly from the gallery walls, leaving behind these distinct heart-shaped negatives in the rock.
So you can still see them?
You can. You can still see them today in the prehistoric Chamber of Hearts within the mine. It was, a prehistoric brand seal guaranteeing the source.
Yet, despite this industrial success, the sources constantly remind us of the danger. This mountain was both their greatest provider and their greatest threat.
And this raises a really important point about the risks of early industry. Mining activities in both the Bronze Age and the later Hallstatt Age were repeatedly just wiped out by giant mudslides. Completely destroyed. The Bronze Age mine around 1245 BC. Then, hundreds of years later, in the 4th century BC, a catastrophic landslide buried the operation all over again.
And that's where the famous man in the salt comes from.
Exactly, that tragic discovery in 1734. He was a victim of that 4th century BC catastrophe, preserved entirely by the resource that ultimately claimed his life. Their success was always precarious.
So if we fast forward, how do we get from that precarious industry to imperial glamour?
Well, the stability and wealth generated by that centralized salt monopoly, the Habsburg state control, that provided the financial backbone for the region's next great transformation.
Shifting from industry to leisure.
Precisely. And that brings us squarely to Bad Ischl.
Okay, so we've moved from the ancient industrial cradle to the imperial spa town. And what's notable is that Bad Ischl isn't really famous for being on a spectacular lakefront.
No, it's not. It's a major transport hub, located between Hallstatt and Tronsee, but its fame is entirely about a shift in purpose. Salt, but in a different form, became the town's new asset.
Yes.
In the early 19th century, Bad Ischl became incredibly fashionable as a spa resort. This was thanks to the trend of medical brine baths that used the area's mineral-rich water. Its fate was sealed in 1849 when Emperor Franz Joseph its bane chose it for his permanent summer residence.
And the Kaiser Villa, his summer palace, has quite a romantic origin story.
It does. It was a wedding gift from the emperor's mother, Archduchess Sophie, when he married the iconic Empress Elizabeth of Bavaria Sisi in 1854.
And the building itself is a kind of homage.
It is. The stately neoclassical structure was famously crafted in the shape of an enormous letter E for Elizabeth. Franz Joseph reportedly loved it there. He called it heaven on earth.
But the villa was more than just a retreat, right? It was basically an auxiliary seat of government.
That's right. He governed the empire from there during the summer months, which is why this very serene spot is tied to one of the most seismic events in modern history.
The start of World War I.
The very start. That's why the date, July 28, 1914, is so heavy in Bad Ischl. Franz Joseph was at the Kaiser Villa when he signed the declaration of war against Serbia. That was the moment that officially ignited the war.
And he left the next day.
He did. He left the following day and, quite poignantly, never saw his beloved summer home again.
It's just jarring to think such a pivotal moment in global history happened in a serene summer villa so far from any battlefield. How does the town handle that legacy today?
It really balances both sides. The town still leans heavily into the imperial city moniker. You see a great deal of that ornate 19th century architecture. The Kaiser Villa, the Marmorschloss, which was Empress Elizabeth's tea house, they're all major features.
So the romance of Sisi is a huge draw.
A huge draw, yes. But the history of the declaration of war is also preserved and acknowledged. They make sure the gravity of that moment isn't lost.
And speaking of legacy, we have to talk about the culinary traditions that came from this imperial connection.
Oh, absolutely.